Well, here we are again, people. Here we are again. It's your boy. Well, you should know. New subscribers is brasstax, baby. Existing subscribers, well, you already know. I hope everyone's had a great Easter weekend. I personally did. I'm so full of chocolate, it's crazy. Lots of chocolate eggs. Lots of food. All of the bad stuff. But hell, it's a good weekend. Good weekend. I'm gonna be honest, my weekend's really consisting of just eating and just playing games. You know, I'm going through this phase right now where I'm trying to finish some of the older games that I didn't get a chance to before. So I'm trying to finish all the older games before the newer ones turn up. Like I've got Outriders right here. I'm gonna wait till I finish my old games before I start on that. You know, we got some other good ones coming soon, so I can't wait. Now, a lot of people have been asking me about this because a lot of people haven't been able to get it, right? It's been sold out for ages. Batman v Superman, the remaster, the Ultimate Edition, the new color grading, and wanted to know my thoughts. And I'm gonna be honest, I haven't even had a chance to get hold of it, so I had to borrow it to review. Even the guy I usually get them from didn't have them. I mean, what's going on here? I remember that this was one of the first 4K Blu-ray reviews I did. Also, it was one of the first 4K Blu-rays by Warner, which had a 4K DI. And I remember talking about the movie. Oh gosh. Well look, here's a little snippet for you guys.
Now the argument could be made that should it really take 3 hours to have the movie make sense like this? That's debatable. But one thing is clear, this is Zack Snyder's initial cut. But I guess Warner Brothers had him grabbing his ankles and they were like, do you know what I'm saying? He was getting it from the back in this bitch.
As you can see from that, I wasn't a big fan of the theatrical version. I remember going to see it in the theatre and I thought, there was a lot to like. But I've since kind of changed my stance on it, especially with the Ultimate Edition, which just improved the narrative so much. I mean, it's not an entirely different experience, but it's shocking to me how many people haven't seen the Ultimate Edition yet. You know, it's like a good half hour extra and it adds a ton to the story. It's more cohesive for sure. And you know, I kind of seesaw on this whole Martha thing. I do. You know, in some points it's corny and in other points it's genius. So I didn't even realize at the time that Bruce Wayne's mother was also Martha Wayne, right? I didn't even realize, and to put those two together, you know, makes all the sense in the world. So I think it was a really good idea, but maybe the execution was weak. And granted, there's times I've watched this and many people have laughed about this on various YouTube videos and whatnot. But let's just be honest. There were plenty of times Superman could have just said to Batman, listen, they're gonna kill my mother. Okay, we can catch the fade later. Let's save her life first. Right, he had plenty of opportunities. And as logical as that could have been, it wouldn't have made for a very entertaining movie now, would it? And to re-emphasize, the Ultimate Cut is far superior than the theatrical cut. I understand why you would want to take some things out for the theater runtime and whatnot, but why on earth would you even cut some of the fight scenes out between Batman and Superman? There's pushes missing, there's a few punches missing, there's a little bit of dialogue missing. I don't understand. That doesn't make sense. That's what you're selling. Batman v Superman. Why would you cut some of the fight scenes out? Does not make any sense to me. But anyway, as far as the movie goes overall, I had a pretty good time. I think it's cool. I love the special effects. I like the story on the Ultimate Edition. I don't think it's as good as Man of Steel, but it's still very good. And in terms of Snyder's 3, it would be Justice League, the Snyder Cut at the top, then it would be Man of Steel, then it would be Batman v Superman. Now, as far as the previous 4K Blu-ray goes, I thought it was okay. I mean, it didn't really blow me away as a 4K disc. I mean, there are moments of superb clarity, but overall, I thought it was decent. I thought it was definitely a step up from the 1080p Blu-ray. It definitely has more clarity and it's definitely a lot more punchier. The problem is though, I always felt that there was something wrong with the colors, primarily the reds. The reds just looked off. I don't know whether it was perhaps oversaturated. I don't know. But in some of the even darker scenes, like I said, the reds looked off, had some black crushing parts, and some of the skin tones in indoor scenes looked a little unnatural and oversaturated in parts. Suffice it to say, Zack Snyder saw a stream and he thought the same thing, especially with the reds. So that's why we have this disc here. The 4K Blu-ray disc of Batman v Superman, the remaster, with added IMAX scenes and enhanced color. So let's talk about it and see whether this disc is worth the double dip. So once again, it's a 4K DI, right? It's a 100 gig disc. You got the switching aspect ratios from IMAX and you got the black bars also. So it switches from 239 by 1 to the Justice League-esque, box in the middle 143 by 1 aspect ratio. So you got the black bars on the side, but you're getting the full uncut vertical presentation. HDR10. No Dolby Vision, unfortunately. They could have just added that in, I think. They could have just. But they've been lazy with that one. And Dolby Atmos, which is literally the exact same track as the previous 4K Blu-ray and Blu-ray for that matter. So I gave this a watch from start to finish. And I can tell you that it's a superior viewing experience, for sure. Now let's start with the switching aspect ratios. I think there are quite a few which are scattered throughout this movie. At the beginning, the Batman v Superman fight, obviously. And there are a few more scattered throughout. And I will say that the switching aspect ratios did not affect me at all. I didn't really notice it as much as I would notice it normally. When you got the full screen and then you get the black bars, but now you've got the black bars on the side. For some reason, it wasn't as jarring as it can be on, let's say, Transformers The Last Night. I mean, those were some bipolar aspect ratios, let's just be honest. But I will say, specifically, the fight between Batman and Superman looks so much better here, so much fuller. You see Batman waiting there with his bat signal, you see Superman hovering in the air, flying down, and you're just seeing so much of the picture that you just have not seen before. It's scary how much you're missing at the top and bottom that you would think is just dead space. It really isn't. It's the best way I can describe it is, when you're taking a picture on your iPhone, and you've got the setting in the middle, which isn't the wide angle, but it's not the zoom either, it's not the telephoto, it's the one in the middle. And then you can see how much is being cut out when you zoom back. That's exactly what it's like when you watch this. I used to think, and maybe it is true in a lot of cases, but I always used to think when you've got the black bars, you're seeing the best frame of the picture. But seeing it like this, you just see so much more, and you're far more appreciative, because I went back to the 4K, and you see how much is cut. Even when Superman and Batman are just talking to each other. You got Batman with his ears cut off. Can't have Batman's ears cut off, come on. I mean, I keep referring to them as IMAX shots. I don't know whether they truly are IMAX shots or whether they're just shot for IMAX. There's a difference, but whatever the case is, those scenes look absolutely spectacular. I mean, razor sharp, clear, detailed, no grain. If they had filmed the whole movie like that, if they brought out the whole 3-hour Ultimate Edition like that, it would look absolutely spectacular. I mean, that is reference 4K you're seeing in this aspect ratio for sure. And these scenes, once again, are the standout of the whole movie. Now, as far as the rest of the transfer, not really much has changed in terms of the detail. Okay, it's still got more detail than any 1080p version you're gonna see, especially on suits, on Batman's outfit, Superman's outfit, the textures, close-ups on skin, pores, wrinkles. It's got all of that good stuff that you've seen on the previous 4K Blu-ray. But what it has done here is it has tweaked the color for sure. It's definitely enhanced the colors, and it's not immediately noticeable, but as you're watching through, you are going to pick up on it, especially on Superman's cape. The reds look more nuanced, and the skin tones look a lot less pink than they would have done on the previous 4K Blu-ray. More of a natural look to it for sure. I did notice some black crush on the previous release, but it's nowhere near as bad here. So the disc is definitely an improvement. The color also translates pretty well over to the HDR. When you see the laser beams, they popped pretty well on the previous 4K release, but over here, explosions, lasers and stuff have that little bit more nuance to them, a little bit more detail within the color, because obviously Zack Snyder has worked his magic on the colors. So it's definitely a better experience. Not a night and day difference, but noticeable. Now you could tell your girl to sit on the woofer and see what happens. Guess what? The bootay is going to be very familiar because it's exactly the same audio track as the previous 4K release, which is to say it was pretty damn thunderous if you ask me. Great bass response, you feel every punch, every kick, even the flapping of the cape. Lex's irritating voice all around you. The surround sound is great in this, especially on action sequences. You can hear things above you, around you. It is a great Atmos experience, 100%. If you've got the previous 4K Blu-ray, then you already know what I'm talking about. While it's not reference, it is damn good and very, very appreciated. Great dialogue up front and center, as it should be, and sounds around you. Panty dropping. And there we have it, people, my review on the remaster. Do I think it's worth it? Yes, I do. I think the colors look better. I think the aspect ratios, you're seeing things you haven't seen before on the previous version, so I definitely recommend it as a double dip. I'm pretty sure on my previous review, don't hold me to it, but I'm sure I gave it an 8 for the picture quality. I'm probably going to give this an 8.7, 8.8 now, because the color correction in the IMAX scenes have just pushed it over for me. It's a better experience, and visually a better disc than the previous version. So pick it up, people. I'm gonna leave some Amazon links for you when it comes back in stock. Pick that bad boy up, because it's definitely worth it. And the Atmos is great too. 70% of people who watch me haven't subscribed, so if you are watching this and you haven't, please do, and turn the notification bell on as well, so you can get great content from your boy. And if you want to support the channel, I've got a members only, oh, it sounds like a OnlyFans. I've got a members only on my channel as well, so join up if you want to. I'm going to have some exclusive content there starting from next week. And there we have it, people. 4K Rockstar. You already know.